It's time to speak up. They're rolling back segregation.
Did you know Trump just legalized segregation again? Let me repeat that. Federal contractors can now ban black folks from bathrooms, restaurants, and jobs using your tax dollars. This isn't a history reboot. It's Project 2025's MAGA playbook, deleting civil rights. But here's their fatal flaw. Black America controls $1.6 trillion in spending power. We buy Jordans, iPhones, SUVs, yet fund businesses cozy with this Jim Crow 2.0. Target lost $15 billion fighting LGBTQ plus hate. Imagine draining every dime from these segregation enablers. Document every white's preferred job post, every racist policy, and flood TikTok with geotags and CEO at handles. White allies, this isn't our fight alone. Your schools, hospitals, and voting booths are next. Corporate America wants segregation. Let's help them starve. They think it's 1955, but we've got screens, boycotts, and receipts. The question isn't if they'll backtrack, but how loud we'll be laughing when they beg for our cash.
FAFO season continues. In this video, we're going to show you how the whites are reacting about this segregation thing which is going on. So let's...
It's time to speak up. They're rolling back segregation. They are rolling back segregation. It is now no longer illegal to require separate facilities for people of different races. It is no longer illegal to say, here's the white water fountain and here's the colored water fountain. To be clear, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 is still in place and has not been disbanded. But we know what their goal is. There is always step one in a process, and we absolutely know what their goal is. They are rolling back segregation. What are we going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? Because this time, white people, we are the ones that are going to be on the front crossing that bridge. Do you hear me? We are the ones that are going to stand in the streets. Our black countrymen have done their time at the front of the lines, and it is our turn. It is our turn to face the water hoses and to face the dogs and to face the tear gas, because we have let this happen. Not on my watch. Not while there is breath in me will we go back. Is anybody out there with me? Go love your neighbor. Hey, friend, this is exactly right. This is exactly why I said it is we, the white people, who have to be at the front of the lines this time. It is we that have to go out and fight this battle. And you guys don't need to come into the street, because we know this is calculated to get you out there. We know, just like when they said they were going to pardon the man that stood on Mr. Floyd, that was intentionally calculated to get you out, because they want to unalive whole populations of people, and you and I both know you are very high on that list. I know you don't know me, and I know you have no reason to trust me, but I have children who look more like you than they look like me. So I have skin in the game. And last week, I was in D.C. with my biracial daughter and her very dark-skinned boyfriend. And when I went out and marched and argued with people and went to Congress and did all of the things that I could do there, I made them stay back. I made them stay back at the hotel, because history shows that I will be treated differently than they will. And it's not that we all don't have a part to do in this. It's just that our roles are different, and you've got to stay home, because it's absolutely what they want, is to get you into the streets. But that doesn't mean there aren't things you can do. You know, if you are a person of faith, then you know that this battle is not just flesh and blood, but powers and principalities, and there's a spiritual realm thing going on. Man, you can do some of the most important fighting from your home, and that is in the spiritual realm. there are other things, knowing that we know that you have to stay home, and you know that we have to go out. This is how I hope our future will be different, because we now can show you there are some of us who are not like the rest. There are some of us who believe that a person should be judged on the content of their character and not the color of their skin. That great dream is a dream for me too, for my children and for yours. But please stay home. Please don't come out in the streets. This one's on us, and we got you.
Y'all, we need to talk, because the Trump schmatzy administration just banned segregation in all federal contracts. Segregation like separate bathrooms, Jim Crow 2.0 bullshit. By the way, a black man just delivered my freaking UPS mail. You all are fucking unhinged with this bullshit. And to be clear, this is not about policy change. This is not about saving money. This is a message, a big, loud dog whistle to black and brown people trying to instill psychological warfare, a message that they are not safe. And it is meant to make people feel small and afraid. And white folk, this message is for you. Y'all need to call this out, not just online, but at work, at school, at the dinner table. This ain't just politics, this is real life. If you stay quiet, you're part of the problem. Speak up, shut it down, because separate does not mean equal. It was never equal, and we are not going back. Take action. You want to do something? Read a fucking book. Better yet, support black businesses. By the way, ladies, they know some really great shit. Somebody find this company. I bought it at a Pride Festival. It's freaking amazing. And when it's empty, I will buy more. Show up for your black and brown neighbors. This is the only way we're going to win from these schmatzis. This is absolute, utter bullshit. For the love of God, share this post. Share it everywhere.
You can't continue to let this go on. I can't continue to let this go on. We continue to let this go on. We cannot continue to walk around with our eyes shut and our ears closed. Okay? What is it going to take? We have come way too far to have society be set back 75 years. 75 years. What are we doing with these these executional or these executive orders removing policies that allow for segregation? What are we doing? Oh yes, it's government contractors. You know who those government contractors are? SpaceX, Tesla, Amazon probably. It's all a bunch of smoke and mirrors and all these MAGA folks falling for the okie doke. It has to stop. And in the latest news, guess who's overseeing the housing board? Oh yeah, Musk. Musk, along with his buddies, I think it's Plute, the head of Plute Homes, and now they're all buying up a bunch of stock because it's like $6 a pop. They're taking everything. They're taking everything. When in history have we had a president incite this amount of fear among so much of the country? I can't recall it in my lifetime. Yet Dems and Republicans have never really gotten along. Obviously, they're on different sides of the aisle. But society's divided. And for the people that continue to say it's just the Democrats who hate the Republicans and they don't want to see it's a bunch of bullshit. It's a bunch of brainwashed bullshit. And it's going to take audio for them to open their eyes. The thing I love about this TikTok platform is that we can continue to share and talk and communicate with each other on the things that are going on so that we can continue to create awareness. You may not want to hear it. I get it. But you need to be aware. Because I can tell you right now, if you search Republicans that regret their vote, you're going to see hundreds of thousands of videos. Check it out.
We have some shocking news. Donald Trump has just effectively legalized segregation for federal contractors by signing an executive order to remove a civil rights era ban on segregated areas like drinking fountains, transportation, and housing. Even though the Civil Rights Act still makes segregation technically illegal, the federal government is ultimately responsible for its enforcement and investigation into any violations, and Trump signing this order is a clear message that the government will not step in. A spokesperson for the General Services Administration was quoted referring to the prior ban on segregation as a, quote, damaging policy of the past administration. Several federal agencies have already begun recognizing these changes, including the Department of Homeland Security and the National Institute of Health, both of which have issued notices advising employees not to consider the prior segregation ban going forward. This is only the latest of Trump's attacks on DEI, but this order goes a step further given the history our country has with segregation.
Well, it's official. Segregation is now back on the table for the American government, and we have Donald Trump to thank for it. You heard me right. Thanks to Donald Trump, segregation is now no longer banned in the federal government. More specifically, government contractors are no longer banned from having segregated restaurants, waiting rooms, and drinking fountains. Yeah, thanks to Donald Trump, now government contractors can have shit like this again. And what was Donald Trump's logic behind this asinine decision? Well, he's tackling DEI, of course. Donald Trump is bringing back segregation in order to supposedly combat DEI. I wish I was making this shit up. I wish I was making up all of the insane shit that Donald Trump says and does. But unfortunately, this is just our fucked up reality now, and until somebody does something about Donald Trump, I'm afraid there won't be an end to the madness anytime soon.
We are headed towards another civil war or building up black community, or both. What I want us to keep in mind is that taking away DEI is taking away opportunity. Allowing facilities to segregate is pushing us in a corner because we already don't own wealth, not a lot of wealth in America. Remember what they did when black people did build their own communities and started to thrive. They burned it down. They can't continue to redline. They continued to discriminate with giving out loans so that black people could not own homes and build wealth. They continued to discriminate with job opportunities. This is where we're headed, and although I don't believe that we should react in the way that they want us to react, I think that we more so should be preparing ourselves for what's to come. Because indeed, these things are going to affect us, whether we want to ignore them or not. And to all the people who voted for him, is it still about the economy and not about people of color? It's not surprising to me that a lot of y'all are quiet or crying. The amount of self-control that we have to sit back and allow for the Trump administration to dismantle everything that our ancestors worked for, that the people before us have worked for. I don't know about y'all, but it is draining and it is concerning. And these people are still screaming that it's just politics. Go to HE double hockey sticks, please.
And that they quietly concede. So did you guys see that federal agencies are now bringing back segregation and that they quietly have undone the law that prohibits certain constitutions and institutions that have goods or services to segregate? While y'all are on here bring back segregation, they already did when they wiped out DEI, but people are sounding the alarm on it because they are instituting it and telling companies to start to do it now. Segregated facilities are no longer explicitly banned in federal contracts, meaning they can do shit like waiting rooms for Services Administration just last month, affecting all civil federal agencies. Now, this memo explains it is making changes prompted by President Trump's executive order on diversity, equity, and inclusion, which replaced an executive order signed by President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1965 regarding federal contractors and non-discrimination. Now, a recent notice from the National Institute of Health shows that change is already in effect. Several federal agencies, including the Department of Defense, Commerce, and Homeland Security, have notified staff who oversee federal contracts that they should start instituting these changes. The changes to the FAR 52-222-21, which is prohibition of segregated facilities, and 26, equal opportunities will not be considered when making award decisions or enforced requirements. Now, the prohibition of segregated facilities, the reason why we don't have to go into establishment and see four-colored water fountains fucking only is because of the Prohibition of Segregated Facilities Act. Contractor has to agree that it does not and will not maintain or provide for its employees any segregated facility at any of its establishments. It's explicit.
Have you heard? Segregation is back. Martin Luther literally marched and called out for help, cried people to unite and to make sure we do away with segregation. But now, somehow, segregation is back. They have introduced it. They have passed the policy. The president literally has already signed it, and it's going to be done under the federal contractors. That's what he says actually. But you know how things start? Usually they start slowly to see how people are going to react, to see how people are going to, whether they're going to accept, are they going to resist. And then after a while, when people have accepted, and or maybe should I say forget about it, then you realize other states have already adopted the policy, and now they're literally doing segregation, around the whole of America. Yes, it's unfortunately, but here we are. These are the choices we make. This is what they say FAFO season. You choose the person who literally said this is what he's gonna do during the campaigning, and somehow some people thought, oh, he's just he's just in the Lulu land, whatever he says is not true, he cannot do that. But here we are. He said he's going to do mass deportation of undocumented immigrants. This is what he's doing right now, and as a result, there is literally job shortages, vacancies. Farmers are crying because they don't have any workers. Farmers are crying. They say they're literally going to lose their farms. We have tariffs left, right, and center. Right now, some people cannot even afford eggs. Why? Because of the whole, tariffs, increase of tariffs. And now countries are retaliating. And now today, you're being told segregation is back, and he has already signed the policy to take effect. And they're going to start, and they said they're going to do it under the federal contractors. This is a bill that was literally being protecting people, people of color, blacks, Latinos, Asians, from being discrimination, from being, having this saying where they used to say, this line is for blacks, this line is for color, this line is for whites only, this school is for whites only, this school is for blacks only. They are literally, at one time, that's how America used to operate. This neighborhood is for blacks only, or the other neighborhood is for whites only. So you were not allowed, if I'm black, I want to go and live with in the white neighborhood, I will not be allowed. If a white person wants to live in the black neighborhood, will not be allowed. That is segregation, each to their own, literally. And people marched, people lost their lives, people literally, made sacrifices to make sure a bill was passed into law to avoid segregation. That was done, and somehow, they're chipping away slowly but surely, taking the whole country back in the 1940s, 1950s, 1800s. Those are the old days. People are marching forward, not marching backwards. But somehow right now, the way I'm looking at things, whatever is happening in the country, it's like people are marching backwards instead of moving forward. So what's going to be next? What's going to be next? Because there's also going to be Medicaid cuts. People are going to lose their insurance. It's already been done. Veterans are going to lose their insurance under the Medicaid cuts. I mean, there's so much is happening at the same time. So this is what they say, faff around, you know. This is the FAFO season. You play around, you chose the person, and now these are the repercussions. And people are crying. To be honest, people are really crying. But unfortunately, at the end of the day, we have to wait for the next 4 years for things to change. That is the reality. So now it's just a matter of, you know, sit back, watch this the world, how they're reacting to Americans and how the Americans are dealing with these repercussions. What's basically every single day, one thing is happening, another in the White House, which is going to affect millions and millions of Americans from from USA. And also some policies which they passed which are affecting the whole world. For example, US aid programs which were being cut, the shutting down of US aid, which was literally helping people from around the world for over 50 years now. You know, some people right now in other parts of the world, they're dying because, you know, US aid used to support people under the AIDS, you know, getting medicine for HIV AIDS, treating children who have, you know, problems, you know. Right now, those people are suffering right now because the aid programs have been cut off and some countries cannot afford to help. So like I said, this is FAFO season. This thing which is happening right now is affecting everybody, not only Americans, but across the world. What do you think? I'd love to hear from you guys.